Hello and welcome everyone to the ISCA Saturday Cup Series, first race of this season. Definitely happy to be here at Charlotte Motor Speedway once again, as of course we were here not too long ago on Thursday. Definitely proved to be a fantastic race and quite a challenge for the guys that definitely didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare, just considering this is not in the official schedule, so a lot of guys did not have really the ability to practice and have practice races in the A Open. But definitely, they rose to the occasion on Thursday, and I have a feeling they're going to rise to the occasion here tonight as well. Of course, my name is Brian Britt, and Big Al is joining me in the booth. How you doing, Big Al?
It'd be better if you share your stream.
There, screen is shared. Can you answer my question now? How are you, Big Al?
Hey, Brian, doing a lot better, man. I don't know. Did I say that out loud? I'm sorry about that, man. I was just sitting here talking to myself. Man, excited to be back here at Charlotte again. I think these guys are going to put on a great show for us here tonight. Looks like we even got a pretty full house as well. So, yeah, just kind of excited, waiting to get it going.
Yeah, it looks like qualifying is, of course, underway right now as we see Kenny Powell, a lot of other drivers, Josh Schaffner, Greg Wychinski, Don Avery, all making their way out onto the track. I do believe we got a new driver here this week also, Alan Henson. Definitely glad to see him out here. Going to be, hopefully he's going to be able to do well. Looks like in practice, very quick. So we'll have to wait and see. Of course, let's take a look at the race facts for tonight's race. It's the Cheerwine 200 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 134 laps here. These guys have to take, of course, conquer, I'd say. And last on Thursday, didn't have any cautions at all. So hopefully we'll see the same thing here tonight. Of course, stages are 20 and 50. 4 tire sets down actually in the pits, 5 if you include the one that they start with. 48 laps is the fuel window, and that was pretty close to being very accurate. For the most part, we saw guys kind of in that last race on Thursday kind of go to that 45-lap mark in the run and then kind of decide to come down pit road. But there is a little bit of wiggle room there, Big Al.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like qualifying is getting ready to get underway here.
Well, we're already kind of in the midst of qualifying right now. Just 3 minutes left here as we definitely expect a lot of guys to try to do some qualifying. Track position seemed to be very important. Seemed like it was kind of difficult to pass there on Thursday. Definitely tire wear going to be a significant factor these guys are going to have to deal with here tonight. And curious, how are they gonna conquer it? I mean, it's going to be all about, I'd say, try to save the tire, maybe back up your corners a little bit. A lot of guys on Thursday were fast early, but were not able to maintain that speed as the run went on. Of course, Josh Schaffner was able to win that Thursday race. I do believe he's in the competition here tonight, but a whole new cast of characters. Got Chris Severa, Jose Acosta, some other guys out here that could come up here and challenge him. We'll have to wait and see. Of course, could even see the likes of Wes Dobbs or one of those guys come up here and do some work because they were actually pretty good on Thursday. I mean, and they've had a little bit extra time to work on the car a little bit more. Of course, no points to really speak of right now. This is the first race of this championship season, so really everybody going to be starting at zero here. Kind of a fresh start. Definitely going to be the good. I'd say the footing you take off of this race here is going to affect the rest of the season. So I think you want to have a good start to this thing and hopefully get a good finish. Looks like qualifying is starting to wrap up here. Just a minute left, and it looks like for the most part everybody has gotten their laps in. Derek Jacobs shoots up to 6th place. Right now, Don Avery holding the pole, and not a surprise we saw Avery get the pole on Thursday. And, I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, he finished fairly well. Had a pretty good car on the longer run. It seemed like kind of suffered in the mid run, but it looked like it came back to them. Wonder if they've even made some changes there with that triad team. They always are usually putting forth a good effort to make sure their drivers have a very good setup. But it looks like I said, time is starting to count down. I think everybody that is going to qualify has gotten their qualifying finished here. We'll go ahead and take that step away and play our national anthem. We'll be right back with your starting grid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports.
Remember what I told all my drivers? Reach up there and pull those belts tight one more time. Drivers, start your engines!
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We got the grid set for this evening's action. Don Avery going to be starting on the pole with a 30.177. Josh Schaffner going to be starting on the outside pole. Third place going to be Wes Dobbs. Fourth place, Randy Mullins. Fifth place going to be Kenny Powell, with sixth place being Derek Jacobs. Seventh place going to belong to Darren Mullins. Greg Wachinski in eighth place. Ninth place, Joey Preby and Chris Severa rounding out our top 10.
I was going to put Jose Acosta in the 11th with Paul Olson in P12, Gary Adamson in 13th with Andrew Layton in 14th, and Alan Henson rounds out this 15-car field, Brian. Going to be a little bit of an exciting one here. Looks like Henson playing the safer card, starting in the rear of the field, not wanting to try to make any enemies, I guess, just so close to Christmas time. Looks like the track temperature here is going to be 80 degrees ambient. Track temp's going to be 105 with the winds out of the south at 7 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies for us here in Charlotte tonight. Time in the sim is 12:22. p.m. That's going to put us right in the middle of the afternoon.
Yeah, could even see it get hotter. We saw on Thursday the track temp did kind of go up a little bit. We'll have to wait and see. It kind of went through a whole range of different temperatures, so we'll have to wait and see as everybody has gotten rolling. Of course, we'll be getting the call to go green here shortly. Definitely a great job for Don Avery, though. 2 poles in a row. You got to definitely give credit where credit's due, and curious if he's going to be able to win stage 1 like he did on Thursday.
Well, Don really did kind of get a pretty dominant show earlier on in that stage on Thursday. Actually, he won one stage, qualified on the pole, just came up a little bit short of the top 3 at the end of the race. So we'll definitely see if he'll actually be able to put himself in a better situation.
100%.
This field right here, though, is totally different than the field that we had on Thursday. So with that, it'd be interesting to see if the racing is kind of the same. Although maybe half this field does qualify or transfer over from the Thursday league. There are some new names in here, though, so therefore it's going to be a little bit different. Be interesting to see if we're actually able to take this one caution-free for the entire run. As the lights are off on the pace car, looks like he'll be getting out of the way here momentarily, Brian, and we'll be getting this thing ready to go green flag racing.
That we will, and it looks like he's going to be taking that left turn down pit road. Don Avery now with the field in his hands. He's going to enter the Geico restart zone, and there's the first green here of the night. Avery with a little bit of a bobble when he presses the gas pedal, still side by side for the lead. Let's see what happens when we go into turn 1. For the most part, everybody's still side by side. Pretty good starts. Top line didn't look quite as good there. Looking at, I do believe, our 4th place driver, Randy Mullins. Looks like he fell back a little bit on the start there. Josh Schaffner falls behind Avery.
Yeah, Greg Wachinski, actually excellent finish Thursday night. Really crappy start on Saturday night. That actually cost Chris Severa. He was actually shoving him down the backstretch there. But now that everything is going, we're still 2 wide here, 2x2 racing in the back as everybody starts to try to figure out what the rhythm is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's the key, to try to figure out what rhythm you're going to be in. Maybe use this first stage to see what your car does when you push it a little harder. Of course, you don't want to really do that later in this race, but definitely want to see what the limits of it are.
Yeah, it looks like the 27 of Derek Jacobs is definitely running a little bit on the high side. Now, we did see drivers run multiple lines on Thursday. I think they'll be doing it again tonight, like you mentioned earlier. Not a lot of opportunities to actually get a lot of race practice, if you will, because there's only nobody here this week but us. So a lot of drivers have their setups figured out. Looks like Don Avery definitely does have his dialed in, as he is leading this field so far, Brian, and doesn't look like he is ready to accept any challengers just yet.
No, it doesn't seem to be the case here. As we see Wes Dobbs, highest right now, 3rd place, looking really good as he tries to follow along with Josh Schaffner. Of course, Schaffner known for trying to save his equipment, and that helped him out tremendously on Thursday. We'll have to see if that's going to be the same case here. As you see a lot of guys still kind of battling out, single filed out for the most part, though, as we see Joey Prevey thinking about trying to maybe pass Darren Mullins here.
Yeah, I think Avery definitely figured out what his strong suit was, because on Thursday he actually maybe pushed it a little bit too hard in that second stage. But tonight, I think he understands exactly where he needs to be and and exactly what lap times he needs to turn.
Yeah, definitely going to have a lot more experience from that Thursday race for sure to kind of learn. But I'll tell you what, Josh Schaffner in that Thursday race was not up here in 2nd place, and it looks like he is definitely making a little bit of a difference from what we usually see from him. We usually see him fall back, but does not look like that's the case. He's actually starting to put some pressure on that 11.
Yeah, I think, Thursday he didn't really, if I could remember correctly, I don't know if he had a good qualifying effort or he didn't qualify. But, yeah, you're right. He started kind of deeper in the field and actually had to drive through. But, man, once he got up to the front, though, it seemed like he was definitely a force to be reckoned with. So, with Schaffner starting so far up ahead tonight, I think he's definitely going to be a name that's going to be, when we're talking about him, it's going to be probably in contention for the lead or at least on the podium.
100%. As we see Alan Henson, the new face, he's sitting right now in 12th position. Definitely started in the back. He's been moving slowly but surely up through the field. He's catching up to Andrew Layton.
Yeah, and really nobody's really moving thus far. You know, everybody is kind of where they were. The only exception maybe being Mr. Henson moving up the field a little bit, and I believe Jose Acosta and Chris Severa have changed positions. Chris Severa, name we usually are talking about old Chris being out front tonight, just seeming to be content with just riding in the pack here, Brian.
Yeah, you know it's only a matter of time for a man like Chris Severa, though. He is going to be trying to drive his way through this field. Interesting to know. We'll see how he handles it. You know, what kind of car is he using? You know, G&G, I know they had something they were using there on Thursday, and you know, and also the difference in the track. I mean, the track's not much different, but I mean, it still can be a little tricky though, getting around this place. You see, he's now putting some pressure on Jose Acosta. He's going to be trying to pass on the top side of the track. Gets a good run of momentum on exit. You can tell he's having to counter steer to keep that thing from spinning out.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a totally fun track to drive. And like I said, Thursday, this is a track that we all cut our teeth on. Once you get into the iRacing surface, you kind of all start at Charlotte, if you will. So it's just one of those, it's a free track, and it's a track that you see frequently. So that is awesome. But also, Brian, this is the first race of the new season. So a lot of drivers got to risk it for the biscuit, because you don't want to take yourself out of contention, but it will be really great having a strong finish here, being able to take that type of momentum and roll on into the rest of the season here, as we're halfway through stage one.
You also see back here, Greg Wachinski just managing to get it by Gary Adamson. Greg, of course, was in the absolute rear of the field. Looks like he's trying to work his way forward here. Side by side, Joey Preby and Darren Mullins. Chris Severa watching, trying to figure out where he's going to go. It looks like he's going to push Preby around on the top here.
It's going to be real tight there. Him and the 64 going to be running right side by side as Severa's running along on the high line, and he is going to make it stick. Just got to make sure he gives himself enough room, because we did have a lot of drivers involved in self spins and a lot of contact with the wall on Thursday. So that is not seeming to be the case here tonight. It's been clean green so far, as we've made it all the way through half the way to the first stage.
Yeah, lap times haven't fell off a ton either, about a half a second for the most part. As we see, here comes Chris Severa side by side with the 65. He gets up a little bit, almost has some contact.
Yeah, 65 really tight, though, so it's just going to be interesting to see just how patient Severa is going to be as you look behind him, and he's going to have Derek Jacobs. No, sorry, that's going to be Darren Mullins and Andrew Layton going to be battling as well. So Severa's going to not only have to provide for himself, but he's going to have to defend his position as well.
100%, and still the race for the lead quite close as they have started pulling away. I mean, the first place and second place position are about a second ahead of Kenny Powell right now. Kenny Powell still has Wes Dobbs close to him, but I do believe Kenny has just moved up into that third place position, so he's going to be looking to try to work closer and closer. And Powell was pretty quick on Thursday. We'll have to wait and see if he still has that kind of speed. Of course, this stage is shorter than the rest of them here. Going to be just 20 laps, so I do believe Virgin on 6 laps to go here.
Now, whoa, a little bit of contact there, almost just a little bit of a nudge, but just for the simple fact of a reference, though, Derek Jacobs and Randy Mullins both were nowhere near the pace on this stage on Thursday, but yet Jacobs is running in 5th, and Mullins right now, Randy Mullins is running in 7th.
Yeah, Derek Jacobs is looking phenomenal right now, but Chris Severa, he's hungry. He's going to be coming. And I'll tell you what, if I'm a driver that's not used to being in the top 5 and I see that 62 coming up on me, I start to get nervous as we see a lot of side-by-side action here. Darren Mullins battling with Joey Preby. Andrew Layton trying to take advantage. Gotta love this. Some nonstop action we're seeing on this racetrack at Charlotte.
Yeah, this is about the time where tires and cars get tight. And that's exactly, I think, what you're seeing with the 54 and the 64.
I do believe we got a new leader, Josh Schaffner, up to the point.
Also this was about the time that Avery started to struggle just a little bit on Thursday. So, now that he has probably given up just that edge to Schaffner, and that's going to allow Schaffner, like I said, Schaffner is up front a lot earlier tonight than he was. Also, Kenny Powell pulling himself up to the third place after he started in the top 5. So he's going to be trying to get himself a good finish as well here.
100%. Almost 3 wide, a little bit further back here. Joey Preby getting passed by Andrew Layton. Layton has moved his way all the way up now, I do believe, to 7th place. So that definitely, Andrew Layton looking really good tonight. And we kind of said the same thing, I think, on Thursday. A lot of these guys we don't expect to look very good are looking just really competitive. You love to see it as we see, I do believe, Randy Mullins trying to get around his, I think that's his brother, if I'm not mistaken. Darren Mullins.
Don't get me the line.
Oh, problems.
That's not going to be good. Preby is going to lose it. He's going to try to pedal. Hopefully he will keep that down, but not going to be the case. He slides right up in front and impacts. Looks like, I think that was Alan Henson, actually, that took it right to the chin. No caution, so that's not going to do either one of those guys any good.
Take a look back at this accident here. You see Joey Preby was trying to catch up there to Layton and just got loose right here. Just all of a sudden. I mean, this is the problem spot that a lot of these guys have been dealing with is, on the exit of 4. And look at that. Like you said, right on the nose. Even some contact there, I do believe, with Gary Adamson. Looks like we got some more issues, more smoke on the track. Who is that? The 62.
And that's going to end the stage. Josh Schaffner, your stage winner. Don Avery, P2. Kenny Powell going to be in P3. Wes Dobbs, P4. Derek Jacobs, P5. Darren Mullins, 6. Alan Henson, 7th. Greg Wachinski, 8th. Jose Acosta, 9th. Gary Adamson rounds out those top 10 points paying positions. Man, a whole lot of excitement happening towards the end of that stage.
Oh, yeah.
Still reckon.
Yeah, this is actually the aftermath that caused the caution. You see, Chris Rivera was trying to get by Derek Jacobs. That was actually the caution. Yeah, it was the stage, but the caution came out before the actual stage break was meant to come out. This is, I do believe, based on a actual wreck.
Okay.
As you can see, Chris Rivera getting into Andrew Layton and Derek Jacobs. Jacobs, I think, got out of that pretty easy. I think that Chris Rivera looked like he got tight underneath Jacobs there. And, dirty air could be the biggest culprit of that. But since we are, like you just went through the top 10 there, points paying positions, we'll go ahead and take that step away, and we'll talk to someone when we return.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy, and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, we had a caution there. Of course, that was pretty much a natural conclusion to the stage anyway. But, man, you could definitely tell some guys are very much having some handling issues. We're going to be joined here with Chris Rivera. Kind of get to the bottom of what happened.
Yeah, just got a little tight, just asking too much of the car. Yeah, and you're just able to get more run on the high side coming off 2 there, and then just wasn't clear. I was asking too much of it.
Definitely seems like that's a problem area. I mean, what was it giving any signs of that? You think the dirty air was kind of causing maybe the car to have that kind of handling?
Nah, I got no idea. I was just overdriving it. It's just a skill issue.
How bad was the damage on the race car? I mean, do you think you're going to be hindered?
Yeah, we should be all right. We'll see.
Well, we definitely wish you all the best. I appreciate you coming up here and clearing that up. I know you're probably not in the best of moods after that, but hopefully you're able to focus up and get back at it. We know, you're always definitely a pleasure to watch. Can't wait to see you try to drive back through this field, Chris. Who can we give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just, I don't know. Hopefully I can get better.
All right. Well, thanks for your time and good luck. That was Chris Severa, or the 62 machine, was involved in an accident, kind of caused the caution to come out a little bit prematurely. And that's what I kind of thought, Big Al. He looked tight on the exit there and, just trying to get after it. Sometimes, it happens.
Looks like Andrew Layton has actually disconnected, so
Uh-oh.
going to be one car down here.
That is just unfortunate. And, of course, he was actually involved in that crash and was looking really fast. It was cutting his way through the field. Just sad to see that.
Oops.
Of course, look, pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get this thing back going here as the pace car is going to be taking that left turn. And Josh Schaffner going to be trying to see if he can't do it again. Has Don Avery made adjustments to try to see if he can't figure out what was going wrong? We'll have to wait and see. As here we go, entering the Geico restart zone, and the green flag is back out in the air.
Major accordion effect on that high line as well as the low line.
It looks like Wes
Like
Dobbs didn't get going.
Wes Dobbs he did not get going. Jose Acosta was all over his rear bumper. Jose was getting a little bit frustrated, but there was nowhere to go as the top line or the bottom line. Neither one of those two were moving, so that just allowed the entire field to kind of get checked up, but it allowed Schaffner and Avery to kind of get a little bit of a better start here.
Really shocked at how much positions that Greg Wyszynski. Really shocked that Greg Wyszynski got so many positions there. But, yeah, there's a lot of battling going on, almost 3 wide, even further back in the pack.
Yeah, side-by-side racing here going on early in this stage. This is going to be a longer of the two stages, stage one being 20 laps. This one's actually going to be just under 30 laps, about 28 laps are going to have on their tires by the time this one is actually in the book. So expect a lot of different degradation in the handling of the cars, plus those lap times are going to fall off a little bit. So if those guys were really in the hurt locker at the end of stage one, they're really going to be sucking at the end of stage two. As Kenny Powell gets around Greg Wyszynski now, that's going to put Powell back up in the 5th place. Jose Acosta also moving on the racetrack as he gets around the 72 of Wes Dobbs, and that's going to put Jose Acosta up in 3rd place for the first time tonight. And guess what? He's our biggest mover as he did start all the way back in 11th.
Yeah, another big mover. Definitely got to be Greg Wyszynski as he was all the way back in the last place and now finds himself in 6th place. But, of course, like you mentioned, he just got passed by Kenny Powell. We'll have to wait and see how this goes. Looks like Powell's starting to put pressure on the 72. Kenny Powell, of course, fell a couple spots there on pit road.
And you can put pressure on guys this stage of the race. I mean, that is your prerogative. But, like Bobby Brown says, it's my prerogative. But the key to it is we still got a lot of racing left to go in this particular stage. So I think we saw it with Schaffner even on Thursday. I think you're going to see it with some drivers tonight. The guys that are going to be saving and conserving, they're going to be the guys that are going to be stronger on the end of that run, Brian.
100%. I mean, that's going to be what it's all about, trying to save and make sure that car's handling well and, kind of sacrifice early for the longer run. And a lot of guys, it's hard to, have that in mind and actually be able to do that. Because, I know me, when I'm on the racetrack, saving is a great thought, but it's an afterthought when you're actually out there racing.
Yeah, absolutely. So Gary Adamson and Greg Wyszynski now are actually pulling up onto the tail end of Randy Mullins. Mullins running exceptionally well here, as is Adamson. Adamson was, he was in the rear with the gear at that last stage, but now he is actually running smooth, consistent, and actually in the top 10. So if he can actually maintain that presence, that's going to be actually a good points paying day for them. Yeah,
looks like he got a little bit loose off of 2 there, but he's able to maintain momentum As you see the 60 or 54, Randy Mullins trying to challenge Wes Dobbs. Dobbs up to the top of the track.
And I think the 54 is actually faster when he runs up higher on the racetrack. I don't know how he's going to do down on the low side, but it's definitely going to cause those guys behind him to get stacked up, because you can see, I mean, they are one behind another, and that is going to be for what we would call fifth place all the way back through ninth place. So are going to be stacked up right there, Brian.
That they are, and it's so hard to make these passes happen. I mean, you could have a lot of speed, but as we saw with Chris Rivera, I mean, getting underneath someone is, or catching them is one thing, passing them is another. You could be faster, but if you get underneath them and you start to get tight, you're going to lose all that momentum and have to maybe even chase it up the track, and we could see, stuff like that happen. But it looks like Derek Jacobs starting to fall back a little bit here.
Yeah, that's actually, I was wrong. That's fifth place all the way back to 11th right there that are stacked up.
When they get stacked up, there's a chance for a caution here. As Greg Wychinski battling with the 54. Gary Adamson getting a little loose off of 4, but he's still side by side here. Oh, Joey Preby almost gets into Derek Jacobs there. Preby up the racetrack.
There'll be a lot of excitement going on right here amongst these fellers. If they can pedal through this, man, and not actually bring the caution out, I think it will be miraculous, because, I mean, they're getting really racy at that point in the racetrack.
Very much so. Josh Schaffner now out to over a second of a lead over Don Avery. Kenny Powell, he's about a second and a half back from Avery, so some very big gaps up here in the front, but not in the back or in the mid-pack. There's a lot of people that are all up on top of each other.
Remember, Powell made an experiment on Thursday, so I don't know if that's going to be a theory that is tested tonight. That'll be a test-proven advantage for him, or for something that he's probably never going to do again, because he did actually throw himself quite a bit out of whack there when we got after those green flag pit stops. 3 wide right there coming across the stripe.
Look like the 64 of Darren Mullins tried to dive it in underneath. Derek Jacobs was not able to get there. Well, scary. That was a very scary situation. Especially, I think that was in the middle of the quad oval. That is not a place you want to go 3 wide.
No, man, it's hard to get 2 cars going through that bad boy right there side by side. These guys trying to do 3, but I think they thought better about it and realized it's just going to be a complicated issue right there. Jose Acosta's got to be feeling pretty good, man. He is running up here in 4th, but just like that, though, I think he is going to get passed by the 72 of Wes Dobbs. Dobbs getting a great run on the high side. Here comes Wychinski on the inside. Jose is definitely going to be, he's going to let him go. So I think Jose actually understands that, look, we still got a long way to go in this thing. I mean, we only got 15 laps on our tires. We're going to have to do at least 3 times that before we could even consider ourselves to be where we need to be. So really early in the sequence, I don't think you'd be fighting too hard right now either.
No, I wouldn't be fighting very hard at all. That's for sure. I don't blame Jose at all. I think that maybe he burned his equipment up a tiny bit, maybe, possibly, and then trying to cool him back down. But man, just shocked at how good Gary Adamson is doing right now. He is fighting his way, trying to get up into 7th or 6th place, side by side with Jose Acosta. Or side by side for just a moment there, but Gary is definitely putting a lot of pressure on this 42 here. There he goes to the inside. What a pass. A lot of momentum through the middle of the corner there.
Yeah, Jose Acosta thinking better of it and just letting them go. Like I said, just way too early in this thing, man. We're only 38 laps in, just under 100 laps remaining in this contest, which is scheduled for 134 laps today on the docket. Got ourselves some 20 laps remaining before we actually, misspoke, some 10 laps remaining in this stage here before we actually have stage 2 in the books.
Yeah, a lot of guys going to be getting some really good stage points. Definitely to start the season off, you got to get them. I mean, these stage points add up.
You got to get them while you can, buddy, because that's it. There's very limited amounts of opportunities to get stage points. That's why they're so valuable, those top 10 finishes, man. And plus, the consistency of top 10 finishes, top 5 finishes, those are the things that make champions. You might not have to win a whole lot of races, maybe only one, but if you're consistently in the top 10, your name will be in that championship conversation, Brian. It's Jose Acosta right now still trying to fight off Derek Jacobs. Jose has fallen back to P8.
Yeah, Jacobs going to get a good run on the top side here. Oh, gets a little close to that wall, a little close for comfort, that's for sure. That's going to put him under fire, I do believe.
I think Gary Adamson also was a little close for comfort coming off of turn 4.
But here comes Jacobs again on the top side. He gets a good run. This is the place to pass on the top, I think. It's got to be in 1 and 2. It seems like a lot of guys are able to make that top side work through there.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of traffic right now in and around Jose Acosta. Further up the racetrack, though, looks like Preby is going to be getting by Wachinski. That's going to put Preby up into the 6th spot. Now Darren Mullins is going to be coming by Jose Acosta. He's going to be trying to bring Alan Henson around him as well. Jose is sliding the wrong way.
Yeah, definitely going to need some heavy adjustments. And, he's probably one that's suffering from that same thing we keep talking about not having a lot of time or, a lot of opportunity to really build that car up. As we see Alan Henson on the back end of Darren Mullins. Of course, Henson was involved in the accident with Chris Severa a little earlier, but it looks like he's nowhere for wear right now. Looking quite quick. I think he's going to be maybe getting by the 64 if the 64 gives him the room. But I don't believe a lot of guys are doing a whole lot of give and taking right now, as we have, I do believe, soon to be 7 laps remaining or in this stage here.
Yeah, Chris Severa now got himself all the way back up to 11th place. He is going to be trying to sneak back up into the top 10. But right in front of him, it looks like there's a battle that is raging. That is between the 23 of Alan Henson.
Yeah, it looks like I think he might have Darren Mullins cleared here. I do believe he is going to move himself up into 9th position now. Now going to be focusing on Derek Jacobs. Of course, Don Avery has run down Josh Schaffner.
Yeah, I think these two are going to be battling here for the remainder of the evening. But it's good because they're going to keep each other honest. And Powell's going to be back there just to make sure that, both of those two foxes aren't just eating too many hens up in this chicken house.
Yeah, and I almost feel like Schaffner was, you mentioned Kenny Powell kind of doing an experiment. I think that, that's what Schaffner's doing right now. He was kind of experimenting. What does the car look like whenever I push it and get a good lead? And it looks like he's definitely found his answer, as Don Avery is now within 2/10 of him, closing in on the rear end. I do believe we're going to see a battle for the lead here.
I'm going to tell you what, if Derek Jacobs can pull off some stage points in 2 stages in a row starting off this season, that's going to be an excellent start of the season for him, especially considering where he ended last season. Further back, though, behind him, Chris Severa is going to be battling side by side with Darren Mullins. This is going to be for that final 10th spot here.
Yep, definitely side by side. Chris Severa on the inside. Looks like he has got that pass completed. He slides right up in front.
Yeah, they're going to be running up really fast on Derek Jacobs. Severa coming up high, but now he's going to be going low. That's going to allow Mullins to run up on the high side. We're trying to get as much of a runoff as he can. Severa doing the same. He's going to tread the needle 3 wide right there. Severa for the pass, and that's going to leapfrog him all the way up to 8th place.
Oh, a little contact there between Derek Jacobs and Severa. A little bit of a bump.
I think he was just saying good job. Good game. Good game. Good pass. He just smacked him on the butt a little bit.
Well, speaking of smacking on the butt, it looks like the 64 maybe wanting to do the same thing to Jacobs here. As Jacobs on the verge of falling outside of the top 10. He keeps going high. I think he's burning that equipment up. You see a lot of guys that, have that issue when you go a little higher on the racetrack.
Yeah, Severa's definitely got to be feeling pretty good, as he did start this whole stage all the way in the back, I believe in 15th place there, because Leighton actually had not yet rolled off. So for him to get that kind of a run, he's got to be feeling pretty good about that. Kenny Powell got a little bit of company there as Greg Wachinski has kind of rolled him up.
And we saw Don Avery, of course, was catching Josh Schaffner quite quickly. It looks like he lost all the time that he had, maybe made up on him. So now about a second back from Schaffner. Of course, as the white flag is going to be waving here for the stage, Kenny Powell, like you said, does have some company from Greg Wachinski. We'll have to see if Greg can make anything happen here.
But yeah, for the most part, though, stage 2, just as clean as stage 1. Everybody doing what they need to do to get this thing done. A lot of drivers probably know just make a little bit of tweak, maybe not too much. Now, even for those drivers that came in that didn't get a chance to run on Thursday, that probably haven't had any race experience, this has been an awesome opportunity for them because now, Brian, they've got some laps under their belt, just having about 50 laps or so. Now you got a good idea of what you need to do. I mean, you know exactly, what part of the kitchen sink is wrong.
Yeah, for sure. Which pipes you need to adjust on as the yellow flag is out, which completes stage number 2. Josh Schaffner is going to be your stage 2 winner. Don Avery, second place. Kenny Powell in third. Greg Wachinski, fourth. Wes Dobbs comes home fifth. Sixth place, Joey Preby. Alan Henson makes a good recovery up to seventh place. Chris Severa also with a good recovery up to eighth. Darren Mullins, ninth. And Derek Jacobs in 10th. So that's going to be some good points for all of those drivers here. But let's go ahead and take another brief step away. We'll be right back with whoever Big Al decides he wants to talk to.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, yellow flag pit stops are underway. Everybody getting their last, or not their last set of tires, but their last set of tires for, before the real race actually begins. This is when we'll have the opportunity to maybe see some green flag pit stops. We'll have to wait and see. Looks like Josh Schaffner able to win the race off of pit road. And I do believe Big Al's got us a guest going to be joining us here any moment now.
Hey, Alan Henson, this is Big Al up in the broadcast booth. You got me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, just wanted to take this opportunity to welcome you to the league here. What better way to do that than to get a chance to yell at Big Al during the stage break? So congratulations for picking up some points there. I believe you were in stage 7. And welcome to the ISCA.
I really appreciate it. Being my first race, plus I got off ride racing for about 3 months just to get myself back together. And I just got back on, and, the setup's great. I'm just being really cautious. I'm probably not doing the setup no justice. I just want to come out here tonight and make laps and show these guys that I was clean and, I can compete with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting all the way back in 15th, I think you done just that. So how is the car handling down there? You finding that the tires are kind of wearing out a little bit more than you expected? You said you were gone for a couple of months, or is everything about where you left it?
No, the tires are about where I expect them to be. We probably, with this setup, I'm running, we probably run or I have run this week alone, I probably put 800 or 1,000 laps on it since I received it. So I knew what the tires should be. The biggest thing is just not to overdrive it off.
Yeah, we totally understand that. Looks like you guys are going to be getting back to work. I appreciate your time of actually talking to us up here in the booth. Before we let you go, sir, who are you going to be shouting out here today?
Well, I will give a shout out to most foremost TWRS setups. Wes Dobbs, who does my paints, Andrew Layton and Derek Jacobs for letting me all practice with them guys. So that and you guys for bringing this race to everybody and great broadcasters you are.
Well, we appreciate that, sir. Good luck to you, and I guess it's time for you to get back to boogieing.
Appreciate it.
That was Alan Henson, driver of the 23 machine. He right now sits in 7th place, so definitely a fantastic showing so far. Definitely a good first impression, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. He carried points through the first 2 stages that he raced in the ISCA. Josh Schaffner leading us through that Geico restart zone. Don Avery right on his outside. Avery getting a far better start than he did before. Winchinsky a little bit slow. Severa pushing him down on the upside. Down on the upside, I said. But Severa pushing him high on the outside. Severa now jumping down to the inside. Winchinsky, though, getting up to speed, so he is going to be able to pull.
Yeah, definitely some great racing going on right now. Kenny Powell up on the top side, getting a good run. Seems like he's at home at that top side, I'd say. But here comes Avery to the inside of Schaffner. I think Schaffner definitely taking a little bit of a different technique here. We saw him burn it up a little bit in stage number 2, but I think
Severa and Wes Dobbs just making a little bit of contact. Severa, all the way up was battling for 5th place there, and I think he just kind of got in just a very little bit of contact, but that caused Severa to check up a little bit and allowed Dobbs to run away with P5.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of contact there for sure. I'm sure we haven't seen the last of that contact bug here tonight. I tell you what, it's like about half the people I know are sick right now. Well, I'm guaranteeing half these cars out here are going to be having some contact, Big Al.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you what, for it being the first race of the season, though, a lot of guys being able to come out here tonight, make a lot of real estate up, get themselves some much needed points, man, because it's hard to get them. Paul Olsen now sliding around Alan Henson. That's going to allow Olsen to get up into the top 10. I mean, well, now Alan Henson and Olsen are going to be battling there for what would be 10th position, but those guys now got a little bit of company.
That they do. Look at the run that Paul Olsen's getting. This is new. Paul Olsen looking fast tonight. He has now entered the competition.
Oh!
Sure. Problems.
And 54 hits Henson. Henson goes hard into the outside wall. That was Randy Mullins. I don't think he was clear, man. We're going to take another look at that, but I do believe that is probably going to be it for Mr. Henson.
Sad to see that, though. Man, unfortunately. Let's see exactly what happened here as the 54 gets a good run up to the rear end of the 23. This all happens kind of on the back stretch. Yeah, I just don't think the 23 knew that he was going to be underneath them. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of a curious incident where they kind of met in the middle a little bit there.
I've got some great news. And no, I did not switch in my insurance to Geico because Farmer sponsors us here. But I'm going to tell you what, the 23 not receiving a meatball flag, which is great for him. So he should be able to slide down pit road here, Brian, and actually get all of that damage fixed and get back out there onto it. A lot of drivers coming down pit road, so not sure what that's about.
Yeah, definitely very interesting to come down this early, possibly just to top it up on gas. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see if anybody takes actual tires here.
Well, if it's going to be a gas thing, I think the tires are going to probably go before the fuel. I mean, that would just be my guess. So I don't know, man. This is going to be interesting. 7 laps, though. It's going to give us a different pit sequence for a lot of the field. So that's going to be even different.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we see Kenny Powell. I think he might have taken 2 tires, if I'm not mistaken, maybe. Looking at Greg Winchinsky, he spent 13.9 down in the pit road there. So I feel like he took 4 tires. Yeah. And Gary Adamson spent 26.5, and he was I think he must have been fixing some damage there. So some guys might have been trying to work on damage. It looks like Darren
Yep.
Mullins possibly taking 4 tires. Joey Preby, Paul Olson. I think Wes Dobbs looks like he just took fuel only.
We're still waiting on the 23 to get going, as he is still down on pit road getting damage fixed. He is going to be having to put the boogie to it here, unless he is going to be in jeopardy of going a lap down.
Yeah, I think he's getting ready to go a lap down here. Probably just a lot of damage on that race car. I hate to see that. I mean, he even said it when he was in his interview that he was just trying to come out here and show these guys he could race clean and race competitive, and unfortunately get his race cut short like that would be unfortunate.
I don't know. I mean, he didn't have a meatball flag. I would have just tried to at least stay on the lead lap.
Well, it
But
might
hey-
just be a considerable amount of damage. Hopefully, he gets back out there. I mean, we've seen guys before, have some considerable damage, and a caution or something comes out, gets them back into the game. Maybe he's just trying to get some repaired right now while he's got the chance, and hopefully gets back out there though for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's why they keep me up here in the booth, because it's a lot easier for me to run my mouth, especially when I think I know what I'm talking about, which that's, like my shrink says, seldom right, but never in doubt.
Well, I mean, you got to think. I mean, he hit that wall pretty hard, and even though he
Yeah,
doesn't
he
have
truly
required, I'd say he's still probably going to be very much hindered.
And I was really surprised that he did not have required, Brian, because that was a tremendous shot across the bow.
Yeah, very much so. I'd say, the 54 didn't really get anything out of that, I don't believe. But here we go. Pace car getting ready to take that left turn, as it looks like Alan Henson might have left his race car here. But there goes the pace car down pit road. Green flag going to be back out in the air here. Until
Not good, not good. A lot of contact right there as Chris Severa kind of got goosed, and so he hit Avery, and then Powell hit Severa. So a little bit of ping pong action going on.
Now I'm curious. You mentioned about how the different tires are going to factor in here. If some guys did take tires on that last stop, I don't see why you would. But we'll have to wait and see if that maybe plays a role. Because, I mean, even just a little bit of running we did is enough to make a difference. As Kenny Powell now trying to work on the high side of the 64. But Darren Mullins now goes side by side with Gary Adamson. Of course, Avery still in the lead. He's got about a half a second now on Josh Schaffner. Chris Severa up into third place now. Going to be trying to challenge for second.
Yeah, and way to go, Severa, coming back after incidental contact towards the end of stage one. He's got to be feeling pretty good, but here comes Kenny Powell. He is now tucked in behind the 64, Darren Mullins, and he is really bouncing back and forth between the 36 of Gary Adamson and the 64, trying to figure out which one of these two he wants to work with. He has got an option to either work around trying to go low or high.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very difficult to pick these lanes because you don't know where anybody's really going to go. It's so hard to predict. As Kenny Powell does decide, it looks like he's going to go down to the bottom here. He's going to try to get side by side with Adamson. Think he's going to get there. Darren Mullins up the track a little bit, losing a little bit of momentum there. As Adamson's still trying to battle back here. This is going to do nothing but allow Preby to catch up here. Of course, this is the battle for sixth place right now on the track. As Mullins getting a big run on the top on Jose Acosta.
But this is a scary time of the race, though, Brian, because everybody thinks that they're going to run a little bit faster than they need to, is what I'm trying to say. So you want to hope that guys are, even though they're racing and trying to get up front, you just want to hope that they're still very cautious at the same time, because you don't want to get taken out, especially the first race of the season.
100%. And it's just been a lot. I don't know if this race seems more challenging than the Thursday race. It's definitely a different picture completely than what we saw on Thursday. That one went completely green, so this one's had a little bit of a more, it doesn't surprise me because a lot of times these Saturday folks have a lot more personality when they're driving, I'd say.
Well, it's Saturday night,
That's definitely a good way to put it, for sure. As it looks like we still got a little bit of some racing going on. Greg Wychinski trying to maybe work on Gary Adamson. We saw last week Gary Adamson and Greg Wychinski raced each other quite a bit. They definitely. I love see this because we've been seeing so many drivers that have showed marked improvement, where they're able to battle and compete, and that's what you want to see. We don't want to see those guys floundering in the back. We want to see them up here battling. Don Avery still in control with just over a half a second on Josh Schaffner.
We are halfway through this contest. Thank you. And a lot of racing going on right there, getting really racy. As a matter of fact, there's a 36 of Gary Adamson is going to have Greg Wachinski on his inside.
Yeah, Wachinski, of course, definitely had a fantastic race on Thursday. We'll have to see if he's able to put together the same effort here tonight. I do believe finished third on Thursday. He's definitely trying to work his way through as he is sitting, I do believe, in 8th place. Now going to try to chase down Joey Preby.
As Kenny Powell is going to be racing along the high side of Jose Acosta. That battle is going to be for 5th place. Powell making his way back up into the top 5. He has got Chris Severa in front of him. Jose also losing an additional slot. That's going to be to Joey Preby, as Preby is on his march back up to the front.
Yeah, Joey Preby definitely seems like he's ran a good race so far tonight, that's for sure. Definitely seems like he's got a good piece underneath him, and definitely he's had such a great return back to the ISCA. Wouldn't be surprised to see him definitely start this season out on the right, kind of foot here. As Kenny Powell starting to put pressure on Chris Severa. Of course, right behind them, you see Jose Acosta now being pressured by Greg Wachinski.
Yeah, and these guys are tight, and they made contact. A little bit of a door ding there as Wachinski drives off on the high side. Jose Acosta, though, he is keeping it firm on the low side, but just almost 3 wide there. As Preby is going to try to slide by Powell on the inside and leave Severa high. Severa now coming down on the inside there. These two both going to be trying to get their heels back underneath them and drive back by Preby, who is getting a drive off a tremendous pace coming across the stripe, Brian.
Yeah, great run for Preby so far right now. He has now worked his way up into that 4th place position. Long way to go to get up there to Darren Mullins, though. Mullins about a second ahead of him. And Mullins has been showing some really good pace. And I'm wondering if it's because he took tires on that last stop. Oh, no.
Dobbs gets into Jose Acosta. They make contact. Also, Derek Jacobs going to be at risk of getting into that. Also, it's going to bring out the second non-scheduled caution of the night. Let's take another look at this, what happens. Dobbs going to be right there on the inside. Jose Acosta coming down, just not quite clear.
Yeah, you see it got a little hairy right here. Dobbs taking the run on the top side. And Randy Mullins right there underneath him. Yep, right here, I do believe this is kind of where it all started going wrong. See Dobbs all the way up the racetrack. Get a good eye on here. Here we go. Oh, yeah, Wes Dobbs underneath. Let's take a look from a far chase camera here. See Jose Acosta kind of coming up in front of Wes. Wes, I think Wes was giving Jose enough room here. I'm not sure. I think maybe Jose came down. What do you think, Big Al?
I think Wes got him. I mean, that's the only way I could say that. I don't think that's on Jose at all. That's just my opinion. Wes is down on the outside. Wes keeps creeping back up on him, and
I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
But, the good thing is not a lot of major contact. Derek Jacobs caught up in that somewhere. I believe all of those guys that did do that, now they're going to pit. Only 2 cars that actually stayed out. That's going to be Greg Wachinski and Wes Dobbs.
Of course, Greg Wachinski has 15 laps on his equipment right now.
As does Dobbs, so that's an interesting move. But everybody else coming down pit road, and Brian, the funny thing is nobody's going to be able to make it. So there's still going to leave themselves with having to make at least one more stop here in order to get this thing in the books. As we are 61 laps to go, we'll be at 59 laps to go when the green flag does come back out. Now, since that is definitely the second non-scheduled caution of the evening, now we've already doubled the cautions from Thursday night's contest.
How do you double zero?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, 0 times anything is 0, right? But so I guess that the question is going to be: are we going to see more cautions here this evening?
I think there's every bit of probability we could, because I mean, all this is doing is hyping these guys up and getting them more rowdy. You know what I mean?
And another thing too, I mean, prior to the caution, the race was kind of starting to spread out just a little bit. You know, the victory with the first caution was right at the end of the stage. But now, you know, we've already had 2 cautions in this stage that, you know, that kind of stand alone. And both of those have actually caused this field to really be kind of bottled up again. And I think, you know, when everybody starts to make their green flag pit stops, I don't see us being spread out a whole lot.
Yeah, this is going to make it really interesting here, because this is going to favor a person that has a good short run here. You know, like a Don Avery. I think he's going to be in a really good position right now to maybe win this race, just considering the way the cautions are kind of going to fall. And if they have to split this kind of last bit in half, I mean, I'd say they're going to be pitting it probably about 100, somewhere in there.
Yeah,
maybe
230.
105.
Well, you break it up into 2 30-run laps or 2, you know, because you know what that setup looks like. You know what those adjustments are. So I think you put in your best short-run setup here, and you do that twice, you know, because we've already had a 30-lap run here. So, I mean, I think right now everybody kind of knows what cards they got in their hand, and they're going to be wanting to play those. Interesting call now is looks like Wes Dobbs is going to be coming down pit road along with Chris Severa. Severa has pitted every single lap.
Yeah, and he could have some damage on the race car. I mean, he had sizable impacts earlier, and maybe just taking an opportunity to get it fixed, possibly.
Yeah,
I mean,
but what's the stint though that he's spending on pit road?
We'll have to see when he comes off here how long. Actually, he is out of the car, looks like. Oh, he was. I thought he was out of the car, but no, he spends 4 seconds. So this is just a fuel stop. But Greg Wychinski, your leader. Of course, pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get it turned back up. Of course, Wychinski on 17-lap-old tires right now. About 15, actually, on in race time that he spent on those tires. He's going to be substantially slower, I do believe.
He said substantially slower. He's gonna be reckless. He's gonna be a dangerment to him and
spin his tires.
It's gonna be atrocious. I mean, worst case scenario, he spins out at the start and takes out the field. Best case scenario, he gets a good start and just hopefully doesn't get in the way. But he could just run this thing all the way down in the books, Brian, and actually be the winner. I mean, what does Big Al know?
Well, I mean, the thing about it is that he's saving a set when everybody else won't have. You know, he'll have an extra one that he could play around with if we have more cautions. But green flag, they got Avery, big problems.
Avery totally takes out Schaffner. Did not get a good launch. He spun the tires.
Man, this is nuts.
Hit the back end of Schaffner. I don't know if nobody else had major contact. Black flag for Joey Preby and Wes Dobbs.
Probably for maybe jumping the start, possibly. Let's look at it. It just all of a sudden catches. Oh, look at that. Kenny Powell got some damage there. I think Schaffner got out of this pretty good, though. Schaffner didn't hit anything.
Yeah, Jose Acosta also looked like he had a little bit of contact. And so just like that, Brian, yet another caution, but both Preby and Dobbs had their black flags cleared, so that was no fault of their own.
Yeah, so good on the race control to kind of work that out, because I know that they didn't jump the start. It just everything went wrong right at the start there. Good heads up driving there from Jose Acosta, able to kind of miss that accident. But man, that was all of a sudden. I'm wondering if Don Avery was starting in first gear or something there.
Yeah, and here's the thing: Big Al was sitting there putting that on Greg Wyszynski. Greg Wyszynski just flipped me off. I think he said as he drove by the booth.
Looks like we're joined by a special guest here tonight, Al Kozlowski. How you doing tonight, Al?
I'm doing fine, fellas. How are you?
Well, a little under the weather here today, but we're enjoying some racing.
Well, that's what I heard. That's why I thought I'd make an appearance here, see if I can give you a little break or I can do anything for you. I got to see that exciting start there. Got in here just in time as Big Al was. I think he was meaning it was Don Avery that was going to spin out and take out the field.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's exactly what I was saying. See, I was projecting is what I was doing. How's it going there, Mr. Kozlowski? It's always a pleasure to have you joining us up here in the booth. But just an unfortunate set of circumstances for Schaffner, because he had everything pointed in the right direction. And you just don't expect that because Avery didn't. I mean, he had a low laps on his tires. He pitted like everybody else. Now he's pitting for other reasons. But
Yeah, I've been watching this race from the beginning, and these guys are trying to start this off in first gear, but you can't start this off in first gear when you've got 15 laps on your tires. You're going to do just like Don Avery just did.
yeah, true story.
I didn't expect it to be a wreck fest. I thought this was just as clean as it was Thursday because these guys have got just as much talent as we do on Thursday. So I'm very surprised to see this.
Well, not only that, Al, but they've also had additional time to prepare. When you come into the race on Thursday, you're really, you only get the setups on Monday to start, so you're at a disadvantage. So usually the Saturday night guys have had more time to prepare, and they kind of got their ducks better in a row. But here tonight, not seeming to be the case at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And some of these guys. I mean, Don ran on Thursday. He knows, but this is a whole different circumstance. Remember, we didn't have these cautions where you really technically only had 30 laps. That's like two more stints right here. The 30 laps.
Absolutely.
That's a pretty short stint. I mean, they could set that car up, but I think Don's been battling. I watched his in-car during the second stage, and he was battling the steering wheel quite a bit. So he's making changes, and I don't think he's liking them changes.
Well, he definitely looked good on Thursday. Sorry to interrupt you there, Big Al, but what do y'all think of this Greg Wyszynski? I mean, he's still on old tires, and he's still out here. I mean, do you like this call?
I think he's danger bunny now. And what I mean when I say that
I think he is. I think you'll see with Greg what he's going to do is if he's looks like he's going to get past, he's going to give it to him. He's not going to fight anybody because it's longevity. But he's also knows from Thursday that if you take care of your tires and everybody else is trying to battle their way to the front like I did, I just wanted to be in the front so bad I hurried up and I ate my tires up, and that cost me dearly. So I think he'll be just fine. Mullins behind him had a pretty good hot rod, I think, on Thursday. So, and definitely Kenny did. And look at Gary's up there. What an amazing race he's having tonight.
Yeah, that's kudos. When we talk, and right behind him, you got the 27 of Derek Jacobs, and right behind him, you got Randy Mullins. And these three guys had like abysmal runs on Thursday. So to see them actually be in the reference points for us here tonight, very solidly in the top 10, I think that speaks volumes about itself.
Yeah, I think with the two Mullins, it's father and son duo. I think John / Daryl there is the father, and it looks like Randy's the son, or Darren. I'm sorry, Darren is the father, and Randy's the son. But yeah, Derek Jacobs, what a phenomenal run he's having right now, 5th place. He's just got to keep it clean.
Yeah, he's been doing a great job, and probably one of the best performances we've seen from him ever. And you can tell it warms your heart when you see guys grow and get better and evolve.
Oh, absolutely. This league will make it happen. I mean, you may look like you're struggling for the very longest time, but if you just, kind of like follow the leader kind of a thing, just follow these guys' line and kind of learn what they're doing. I mean, you'll be up there racing with these guys, winning races left and right. I mean, we all got to change.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, gentlemen. I want to bring your attention to what's getting ready to happen, and that is yet another restart. Now, as many restarts as we've had here tonight, it seems like we would be pretty proficient, but it seems like the more that we do it, the worse we get. So, with the lights out on the pace car, he'll be getting out of the way here, and Greg Wachinski will be leading us through that Geico restart zone with hit 21 plus laps on his tires.
There it is. The green flag is out. Not a bad start from Wachinski being on the old tires.
Yeah, I think we'll see him stay in the middle of this track. I don't think he'll be hugging that bottom line too much. His tires are not going to last that long if he does. But look at Don Avery. Don's like, I'm coming back through here. He catches a little bit of Jose there and gets him a little wobbly, but he's making it through. Don is coming back with a vengeance.
Yeah, and further up, though, here comes Randy Mullins. He's going to be trying to get right up alongside Derek Jacobs. DSU are going to be battling Bada Strike. Not going to be able to get this done by turn one. Look about a little bit of door banging there.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's been a lot of door banging here tonight.
Yeah. I think we got 72. Wes Dobbs, I believe that is, come up and doored a little bit of Avery. And look at Jose. Jose's like, come on, Don, let's go. If you're ready to go, let's move it.
Yeah, Avery having to get on the brakes here to bend it tight into the turn as he's going to be on the inside of Gary Adamson. He can make it stick. He's just going to have to exert his dominance going into turn one. Looks like he is going to be able to do just that. But Jose is going to have to fight because Adamson's going to be trying to get a run. Looks like no run for Adamson. There's Jose up high now.
Yeah, Avery, though, cutting through this field right now. Avery is cutting through this field. He is about to enter sixth place right now, maybe even the top five before too long as he catches a little bit of the apron there. It's going to get him a little bit loose.
Well, you got to say kudos to Kenny Powell because Powell actually did battle up to lead some laps on Thursday, and here he is, your new race leader here tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to keep this thing up front in the clean air, and it will pay off for him. Mullins got a little bit tight there. Looks like they made contact with Preby as Preby was trying to sneak by, but here comes Don Avery to the inside.
You got to keep in mind, in Kenny Powell's case, he's just coming off of a championship. You know, the Saturday Cup Series championship. He just won that, and he's keeping that momentum going, guys, it looks like, and he's going to try to maybe win this race here.
I thought you told me they gave him that championship.
Yeah, they just gave him that championship. Well, he didn't win that race. He didn't.
We don't give anything away here. You see, we battle like crazy. I think Don's using his equipment up. He better calm that horse down a little bit there. Otherwise, by the time he gets up there, he's not going to have anything underneath him to battle with.
Yeah, but, Don does know how that 30-lap run feels because he's done that a lot. And, he has been trying to battle to win the stages, if you will. So I think he wants to be up front so he can then dictate when he does come down on pit road for his stop.
Greg Wachinski finally starting to lose some positions here. He's going to fall back behind Don Avery, so now he is outside of the top five. But he lasted quite a bit of time up there, as it looks like definitely, I think we're in the fuel window now. So I don't think we're going to see any pit stops now, but if anything does happen, we would be good to go to the end.
And Avery has now got his sights on Kenny Powell. And that's a heck of a run. I mean, he was wrecked. Went in the pit, started this towards the back, and now has battled all the way back up here to P2.
He's a man on a mission. That is most definite. He wants to win this race. I just wish he'd take care of that equipment a little bit better, but I may be wrong. He may have made changes when he went on a pit road there, and it looks like it might be paying off for him. Only time will tell.
Well, you got to keep in mind, too, as you look at Kenny Powell, he's on 15-lap old tires. Don Avery on 9-lap old tires. That's 6 laps.
But we don't know if Avery changed his tires because he might have ran out of sets. So he could have just been getting damage repaired. But the thing is, guys, Don Avery has a super fast 30-lap car. He's been dominant in the 30-lap segments in shorter. So I think that's where you're going to see him running at. That's his best short. He has to put pressure on Powell, see maybe if he can make Powell make a mistake. And then I think, whoever is in and off of pit road the cleanest is going to be the best possible candidate to win this thing.
And how about Joey Preby tonight? Been looking really good. He's running up into third place. Every time you look at that 65, he's always trending towards the front.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of problems there for him as he comes off of turn 4, almost tank slaps the wall.
See, all I'm saying is this is not the time where you can let the leader drive off into the sunset. You have to keep him within arm's reach right now, because the further Powell gets away, guys, you're not going to have too many. I don't think you're going to get another caution. So if you can't reel him in on the track, you're going to have to do it on pit road or a combination of the two.
%. The dirty air,
we
I
got
think,
the
is
leaders
affecting him.
running, 30.9s, and the rest of the field's running in the 31s. So that could be beneficial to the leaders up here. I don't know. It looks like Don is preserving a little bit here. He's not wanting to get up there, and I'm surely hope that Don didn't take his last set of tires by mistake. Otherwise, that could have cost him a win, because I think as strong as this car looks, he's probably a contender big time for the win here.
Yeah, I think he very much is. He spent 5.9 seconds on pit road from what I'm seeing, so I don't believe he took the tires. But I get what you're saying. If you're out of tires at this point, you're not going to be having a good time.
I'm sure Sherry had him dialed in on his pit sequence.
I'd keep an eye on Severa and Schaffner back here, because I think what they're doing right now is they're kind of what we call playing with their food. They're going to try to run these tires out as long as they can, but they're saving them, because they're not running bad lap times right now.
No, not at all. They're actually cutting through the field right now.
And we know the capabilities of Schaffner. I mean, he actually did win the Thursday race. He started this race on the pole, and he won stage 1. So, that was.
He started outside pole, and he won stage 1 and 2, I do believe.
Yeah, so we definitely know Schaffner, and remember, those stages are similar in length to the stages that we're running now. So I do believe you're absolutely spot on there, Mr. Kislowski. I think that these guys are doing, they're trying to be conservative, so that way they can be faster later.
Yeah, that's usually where they're very, apt at doing that. Keeping their tires fresh for a long period of time. But that doesn't seem like that's going to be the strength here. Just considering how these cautions have kind of fallen. I'll tell you what, though, very impressed with the 54 Randy Mullins. If that's Darren Mullins' son, I'll tell you what, Darren ought to be proud, because he is running really good right now, starting to pressure Joey Preby. He could even have a podium in his future here tonight.
So this is his first time on this track with us, ain't it, for the ISCA? He is doing a phenomenal job. I see some smoke up here. What do we got going on? I don't know what that was. Somebody maybe got a little bit out of control.
Possibly Avery, because Avery is starting to fall back from Kenny Powell. It's now a second gap between the two. Kenny Powell starting to sail out into that sunset.
Yeah, let's see how Preby and Mullins, if they catch up to him, Yeah, that dirty air is so prevalent here, and it really is terrible.
Yeah, Severa and Schaffner are not having fun right now, as they were right up there battling with Mr. Adamson. Derek Jacobs has already started his green flag pit sequence. Greg Wachinski is now down on pit road, as he will be initiating his green flag pit sequence.
Interesting, these guys choosing to go down so early. It actually makes sense for Greg Wachinski, maybe not as much as Derek Jacobs.
I'm dialing it back here. I want to see. I'm wondering if Wachinski had a little problem there, if he got loose or something. I'm looking back. I don't see it, so I don't know why he would be coming on pit road.
Well, remember, Greg was on old tires. He had 20-plus laps on his tires, so I think now he's risking it for the biscuit. He knows he's got this set up that he can put in, run 37 laps, and be fast as heck, and that's what he's going to do. Kenny Powell out front now. He's going to be trying to do everything he can to get away from Don Avery, because these two know they're going to have to pit as well. Now, we're going to be watching, guys, because these are green flag pit stops, and this is going to be the one opportunity that these guys are going to have to get this right tonight.
I don't think we're going to see Avery or Kenny Powell on pit road for at least another 15 laps. I don't expect them to come down any sooner than 110, 115, somewhere in there.
Well, yeah, Powell's currently he's got 25 laps on his equipment. Powell did have a car that ran faster, longer on Thursday. Hopefully he has got it dialed in that way. But, I don't think Powell's going to be trying to make any major adjustments. He did that on Thursday. It did not work out in his favor.
Interesting development here. Josh Schaffner, I do believe, got by Chris Severa. Now he's trying to work his way up to Gary Adamson. Adamson has been looking so good here tonight. Looking at lap times, he's faster than almost everybody in front of him except, I do believe, for the top 2.
And the fact that Gary Adamson is running in the top 10, guys, he's already gathered stage points. I mean, that team could not be feeling better about how they're starting off this season.
Oh, absolutely. He's made huge strides. I mean, we don't let just any Joe Blow come into the ISCA, so he had to show some kind of an initiative and some kind of a good driving ability before he was allowed in here. And it just took him a while to find his right spot, and I think he's found it. I think we're going to see podiums and wins from this guy.
Yeah, definitely. If he can, if tonight's any indication of that, yeah, he is definitely on a tear. Now, Thursday night, I don't know, Al, I would have probably questioned that just a little bit, but the performance that he's putting on tonight, his numbers are going to speak for themselves, especially once we tally this up and you see where he comes out at in the overall standings in this Saturday night league.
Yeah, he's definitely looking really good. And even, last week, I mean, I know I kind of chatted with him a little bit. He said that he performed better than he ever has. Even though he, didn't get the best finish, he felt like he could actually compete with the drivers out here. And that's a big feeling when you get that confidence.
I mean, think about it like this. He just came across the strap. He is now battling Jose Acosta and Josh Schaffner going into turn 1, and we've only got 32 laps left in the competition. So, hey, way to go, Mr. Adamson. That's all I could say about that. There's your shout out. As the 43 of Paul Osen down on pit road now, he'll be getting his green flag stop and service underway.
Adamson, I do believe, has gotten 6th place here. We'll have to wait and see, though, because Jose Acosta fighting back on the inside. Side by side going across the start-finish line. Josh Schaffner trying to figure out, who do I go with here? Looks like Adamson gets the run up top, though.
Yeah, you got to have to pinch Jose down, and hope that he stays there and he pedals through it. Jose, not one that likes to relinquish positions. He's never have and he's never will. He's very competitive, and that's one thing you're going to see about him. Now, Chris Severa dialing up, and he is pulling up on the back.
Josh Schaffner really loose there. Has to take a little bit of trip through the AstroTurf, but he still gets the pass done. That is the pass on the AstroTurf.
Yeah, he got a little loose there. Adamson did, and Schaffner had to kind of do some maneuvers there to get around him. I think he got a little spooked. I'm really with Acosta. This is not the normal Acosta.
Kenny Powell down on pit road.
Way too soon, in my opinion. Watch Don. Don's going to run us out for another 7-8 laps.
Don Avery, your new leader. All he has in front of him is the lap car of Derek Jacobs and a whole bunch of Hershey bars. The winner gets Hershey bars.
Now, if I am Randy Mullins and Joey Preby and Wes Dobbs, I think I'm going to stay out.
On Avery, pit road.
Oh, my gosh. Let's see when they go. Here goes Adamson, pit road.
Gary Adamson, pit road. And now that's going to put Randy Mullins in the 54 car. He is going to be your leader. He's got to be feeling pretty good about his position right now. Behind him is the 65 of Joey Preby and Wes Dobbs, 1, 2, and 3, really tight. So if these guys are going to be planning on stopping anytime soon, they're going to be wanting to get a little bit of separation, and that's exactly what the 72 of Dobbs does as he brings it down pit road for hopefully the last time here this evening.
Keep a good eye on Gary Adamson. He came across the line on pit road at 47 miles an hour. So
yeah,
I'm thinking
he
got a black flag.
Nope.
Yeah.
No
penalty?
Clear, no penalty. And Alan Henson has just smoked his motor.
That's what happens when you got it cranked for too long. You see that a lot. Randy Mullins still out front. Of course, he's got about 36 laps on his equipment right now. So won't be, I'd say, about 10, a little bit over 10 more laps. He's going to have to come down. And I think a lot of these guys are doing a desperation move. They're going to stay out as long as they possibly can just in case a caution comes out.
I mean, is that your call, or do you want to go ahead? Because eventually there's going to be a delta. Some guys are going to be on faster tires, and they're just going to keep driving off into the sunset.
Oh, Joey Preby loose.
Preby, I'm coming in right now.
Yeah, and here comes the 64 down pit road. But once the leaders pit, the guys that are up front, guys, you have to pit at that point because you're not going to gain any time on those guys by staying out on old tires.
Yeah, especially this late in the race. I mean, there's not a whole lot to be gained. I mean, other times it would work out, but not this. I don't think this time. Yeah.
Whoa, and there it is. Oh, sorry.
He is battling. Joey Preby better bring that thing to pit road or he's going to bring out a caution.
Did you see that? I thought I was sitting in the chair sideways, but he pedaled through that.
Yeah, I thought there was a caution about to come out the way you ran.
Well, I mean, yeah, he drifted it through that turn, so.
I kind of held up Wachinski. He was battling Don Avery there for first place, and it kind of held him up a little bit.
Yeah, for what essentially is going to be first place once everybody has pitted here. Looks like Avery will kind of theoretically, I'd say, be in the lead. Of course, only 7 drivers remain on the lead lap right now. Don Avery and Greg Wachinski just got their laps back.
Yeah, but these guys all have to pit, and even if there is a caution, I mean, nobody has any tires left, so that's not even going to be a factor. As Powell now comes up high and fast around.
Oh, Joey Preby
hard into the wall.
He's gonna call it a night.
Oh man, as he slides into the pit stall.
No caution.
Had he only come down, guys, a couple of laps sooner, under his, own recognizance, it would have been a totally different story.
Yeah, he called it a night. He parked it, took it to the garage.
He might not have had any tires left.
Could very well be the case. Something definitely not handling right with that race car there in the longer run, it seemed to be, as we're closing in on 20 laps to go here. Josh Schaffner is, I do believe, your leader at this moment.
Yep, Schaffner is, and Schaffner has 33 laps on his tires, which means he's still going to have to come down pit road.
Randy Mullins save that much.
Yeah, Randy Mullins, which is being scored in P2, currently with 40 laps on his equipment, and then Jose Acosta with 35. Those are the 3 highest markers on the track right now as far as tires.
How many laps tires does Severa have on?
34. 35.
Yeah, he's got to pit again.
Yep, for sure. These guys, I don't think, have a hope of making it unless they're really saving, maybe some clutch work going on. I know this could be a track you do it. I mean, we'll have to wait and see.
And Severa did take, he was stuffing fuel in his pockets. They put it in the cup holders. So he came down every opportunity he could to get fuel. And I know Jose Acosta coming down pit road. Got a little bit close there.
Yeah, this is it seems like there's a lot of miscommunications. I watched the race earlier, and it looks like Preby and Wes Dobbs got into it on pit road. And now we've got, Jose not calling out that he's pitting, and almost gets rear-ended,
Yeah, 100%. There goes Gary Adamson. He's going to be unlapping himself, so that's going to put 8 drivers on the lead lap. Looks like Josh Schaffner definitely trying to go the long distance if he can here. Of course, Don Avery should be moving up to 4th place now that Jose has gone down pit road.
Well, you think about this, guys. We thought about this Thursday. If they can make it to lap, let's say 126, and they go in and take right sides only with a splash of gas, would it work?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we talked about on Thursday, because the longer you stay out, then you're just guesstimating the splash of gas that you need to get through the end of the race. So, yeah, that is definitely a very high probability of what some drivers are going to be doing. Because once you're down to 10 laps to go, what's the point?
100%.
Well, Big Al, let's see if we can get a hold of Joey Preby and see. I think he's out of his car. He got his headset on.
Yep. Hello.
Mr. Joey, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing all right. I kind of upset that I'm out of the race, but get to watch.
We all were sitting here begging you to go down pit road. We seen how loose you were, and we thought, come on, you can do it. Get on pit road, and you finally went on pit road, but not the way we wanted you to.
Yeah, I didn't have any tires left, and I was hoping for a caution to come out and allow me to get some fuel. I thought I could maybe make it, but
Yeah, with no tires left, bud. I mean, you were doing exactly all you could, right?
oh yeah, I was trying not to get on the gas, and I was clutching a couple times, and it into the corners and stuff, and I don't think I would have made it anyways. So I probably should have just pitted in the long run, but.
Well, hindsight's 2020. We can't do nothing about it now. You had a good run tonight. You got on a little bit of a fender bender on pit road earlier. We were just talking about that with Wes Dobbs. Walk us through that. What do you think happened with that incident?
I just wasn't paying attention. That was 100% my fault. I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at my phone, watching listening to the race and stuff, and just wasn't paying attention.
You got to keep your eyes on this racetrack, Joey. You can't be listening to these guys up here. You'll end up just like you did. That could have took you out of the race right there. But you had a good run tonight. Next week, I think we're at Kentucky. You got anything for Kentucky next week?
Hopefully, be a better race than tonight, and hopefully, go out and win it.
Brian, you got anything for Mr. Joey that you want to talk to him about?
I definitely want to say he did a fantastic job tonight. He's been showing a lot of pace. Unfortunately, it kind of went the way that it did, for sure, man. And hopefully it goes better for you next week, for sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, Joe, you have a great night. We'll see you again next week, buddy.
You too.
Like Severa's battling here with Randy Mullins.
Well, Randy Mullins right now, guys, is at 49 laps, so he has exceeded the threshold on fuel, which means he'll be coming down at any moment, and it'll just be a splash and go for that team, I'm pretty certain.
Yeah, speaking of which, you see Josh Schaffner there on 43-lap old equipment along with Chris Severa, so these guys are getting closer and closer, about 5 or maybe, depending on what we see from Randy Mullins here, could see if we can make it. I have no clue. I don't think Mullins is going to make it.
Mullins, he's going again.
They're definitely going to get a splash of gas here with right sides only. I can only imagine that's the only way to do it. It's still not going to get them to lead.
Right now, Randy Mullins is at 50 laps. The fuel window is 48, so he has been able to save. Those two must have been during the cautions. That's the only thing that would make sense. So I'm thinking that he'll probably come in at lap, 52, guys?
Well, I do believe we're now 10 laps to go, and Don Avery is only about a little under 7 seconds back from Randy Mullins, and he is catching up, or I should say from the leader, and he's catching up quite quickly. I mean, he's running a second and a half faster every lap. I think that Avery still can catch up to these guys.
Well, I don't know. I'll say this.
Pit. Well, no.
If they don't have to pit.
No, I don't think I think when they pitted the last time, they didn't take tires. They took fuel only. So I think if you take tires, that's when it tells you, it resets how many laps you are on your tires. If you don't take tires, it doesn't reset. But, I mean, Avery is coming, boy. He's on a mission. He's definitely going to take the lead of this thing, because Schaffner's only got a 5-second gap here. He's got to have 8 laps in 5 seconds. I think Avery gets him.
Yeah, I mean, he's going a second and a half faster. I mean, that eats that up for breakfast. But one thing, we always say is catching's one thing, passing's another thing completely. So we'll have to see if Avery's able to manage it, and those guys have some give and take. I mean, what if, he's trying to pass these guys and there's an accident? I mean, when you have such different momentum, that's when accidents are most likely.
Avery will catch Severa. That will definitely happen. By the time he gets around Severa, though, he will not catch Schaffner the way it is currently running.
We'll have to wait and see how that works out because Avery is definitely tracking down Severa as we speak. Take a look through the cockpit camera and watch this as he catches up to the 62.
Yeah, Randy Mullins, 54 laps.
Wow. I mean, that makes me think that these guys are going to make it. I think Schaffner might
they're
make
going
it.
to make it. Yeah, they're both going to make it. Right now, they just only have to run less than 54 laps, and that is definitely going to happen.
Well, the thing that makes it different, though, is you got Don Avery driving up through here. Does that push you to drive faster and maybe burn more fuel?
I don't think it matters at this point. These guys already knew when they got to a point that they were going to be able to go as Avery goes around Severa. But when they got to that point where they were good to go, now they could just put the hammer down. They're no longer clutching and saving.
Beg to differ. I've been watching Randy here in this 54 machine in every corner. I hear a clutch going in and a spit and a sputter, and so he's babying that thing.
He's 55 laps, though.
He's coming in. He's coming in, boys.
Yeah,
I think he's running out.
Choice. I'm talking about Severa and Schaffner. I mean, they had to get to the window where they were, they knew they were good to go to the end, and now, they've got to be able to race this thing. They cannot afford to clutch it.
5 laps to go. Don Avery a little under 2 seconds back from Schaffner in closing. Last time by, Don Avery 32.301. So he was about 6 or 7 tenths quicker that last time by than Josh Schaffner. I think he still can catch him, but time is starting to run out.
He's definitely going to get him. I mean, I unless some crazy wreck comes out, he's going to win this thing. I mean,
how hard has he been pushing it, though? You think about it like that. I don't know.
I mean, he can push it as hard as he wants right now. He's got a whole lot fresher tires. Remember, on 20-lap tires, that thing's a rocket for him, And if it gets loose, we've seen Don Avery wheel a loose car like nobody's business. So I think he's got this.
Well, now it's 3 laps to go. Time will only tell. As, of course, Don Avery has enclosed in on.
Ooh, Derek Jacobs high into the wall, taking all of his sponsors and paid off of that right side. That's not the look that he wanted.
No, definitely not. But here comes Avery closing in. Going to be 2 laps to go. Avery catches the apron a little bit.
Yeah, Schaffner definitely has his hands full at this point. Because remember, his tires are going to be worse off than his fuel situation.
But here comes Avery. Going to try again. He's going to be up to the top side. We've seen many passes done up here on the top.
And we saw Avery in this same situation on Thursday, and unfortunately, it did not end well for him with 2 laps to go on this thing.
Contact. Josh Schaffner up the track into the outside wall. Caution's going to come out.
Yeah, and that's also going to take that W right away from Avery as well.
Well,
who has tires left? That's who's going to win this race, I think. Josh Schaffner, though, into the outside wall. And I don't blame Don for kind of turning him there. I don't think Schaffner realized how fast he was coming there.
But is that your stance? Is that what you're really prepared to say?
Yeah, I think Don mistakenly misjudged that a little bit.
He was going way too fast, and it's so hard to check up.
I don't think that was intentional by no means. I know Don, and I know that wasn't. But now what he's got a problem with is he's got a Greg Wychinski and a Kenny Powell to tend with, So I think he's going to have a problem here because Chris Severa's right behind him too, and Chris has probably got some tires left. He probably only took left sides only.
He sure does.
Yeah.
And Josh Schaffner, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for him this evening. Caution coming out worst possible time because now, you stay out for track position. A lot of drivers are going to be eligible to do just that. Chris Severa's coming in, though. Him and Josh Schaffner both. Schaffner's done, as I stated earlier. But, man, Here's the question: is Severa going to have enough time?
Yeah, he's going to be so much faster than Avery. It depended.
Depends on
It
where he
looks like
comes out.
he's taking some damage off. I think he did take tires.
If he starts this race there's going to be a green-white checkered. I mean, I don't think there's enough. If he starts in 9th position, I don't think there's enough time to get up there. I may be wrong, but I think there's too much traffic to deal with. I bet you that we're going to see, Greg Wyszynski, Kenny Powell, and even Gary Adamson. I mean, we could see Gary Adamson on a podium today.
Man, that's awesome. I mean, and I'm just saying, for Gary Adamson, that will be a complete transformation right there. These guys, I mean, they've battled opposition about everything that you can imagine. And so for them to be able to even be here tonight and be in the conversation for a chance to be on the podium, I think that right there in itself is a win. Guys, we have one green-white checker. That one is going to be the one that we're on right now. So which means once the green flag does wave, the next flag will end the race. So at that point, all you have to do now is just maintain your position. 54.
Yeah, this is the roughest spot here, boys. The roughest spot, because you can race like you got nothing to lose and hope that the cars behind you bring out a caution. The further you can get up, I mean, you don't care if the caution comes out. If you gain 1 position, 2 position, the lead, I mean, you don't win this thing. You just got to give it all. So we're going to see these guys not breaking, and they're going to be wheeling this thing like nobody's business. So this is going to get really exciting right quick.
Yeah, and it is, because Greg Wyszynski, the guy that was on older tires up front when we started our whole caution sequence, now finds himself up in P3. And guess what, gentlemen? He will have 40 laps on his equipment when the green flag, he'll have 41 laps on his tires once the green flag waves again.
Well, my thing is, fellas, that I feel like these guys are going to spin the tires on the restart here. We've already seen it before, and now they're on these older tires. I think it's a real possibility we see something happen on this start.
I think Don's going to make that mistake again, but if that 5 machine, remember me and him tied for the fastest on Thursday. So, I mean, if he's got speed, he'll get through this traffic. It's just going to be the battle between him and Kenny, and we see how that ended on Thursday.
Well, I mean, the 5's got 41 laps on his tires once this thing goes green. That's on the high end of everything.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny Powell and Don Avery about 30 laps on their equipment right now.
Yeah, but 10 laps is a big difference once you're over 20 on tires.
I mean, I'm looking at Chris Severa and Jose Acosta. I mean, Randy Mullins, I do believe all those guys look like, well, no, Jose actually spent 7.5 on pit road. Randy 5.5. So those guys, I think they just took fuel only, but Chris Severa definitely got tires.
One was fuel, and Jose had either left side or right tires, whichever one he had left.
This is going to be nuts. It's going to be all about whether Severa can make it through this obstacle course.
I think the bigger watch, though, just old Big Al's raggedy ass opinion, I think the bigger watch is just if everybody can get a decent launch. I think everybody's going to be so overzealous right there on the start. Look, guys, we have had the worst restarts ever. I mean, right now, I think we're going to make our racing's worst right there just on our restarts. Other than that, everything's been great. So I think if we can get through the restart, I think we could get through the end of the race.
100%.
I think we're going to get through the restart, but I think we're going to see a melee of hell here because Severa is going to be very impatient on that new rubber to get to the front. And he's going 3 wide. I guarantee you he's going 3 wide. I mean, I don't think he's going to Ross Chastain this wall, but I definitely think he's going to use that high line.
Yeah, you got to think about it, too. I mean, all these guys are on older tires. They're not going to be their cars aren't going to be handling quite as well. As we see the pace car take that left-hand turn down pit road as Don Avery has the field in hand here. And let's see what kind of chaos here happens as the green flag comes back out. Wiggles for the 36. Kenny Powell up into the wall. This is a big accident. The caution is going to come right back out, I do believe.
Yeah, just like that. Calamity ensues. Don Avery, congratulations for the win. Wes Dobbs looks like he's going to come up with P2. And guess what, guys? Jose Acosta is going to be scored in 3rd. Right there on the restart, Powell not getting anything that he needed. It's like he was trick-or-treating for Christmas.
Well, here's the sad news, boys. I don't think it was official. I think we're going to go again.
No, we only have one green white checker.
Let's see how this plays out because they didn't make it to the first marker.
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. The next flag that comes out should end it.
Yeah, but see, how iRacing does it is they hold you where the last time you were marked. So as you see these guys pass the start-finish line, Kenny's coming in third. Yeah, so it's got Wes Dobbs and Kenny Powell's in third. And Kenny was involved in that wreck.
They'll just have to circle back around. But I mean, the caution's out and the green
says final lap. Yeah, so this will be it. Where they cross the line here will be the final results. Wow, what a nutty race tonight! That is for sure.
You called it, Big Al. You called it.
I guarantee you, Chris Severa not too happy because I mean he didn't get to even get that thing up into fourth gear, and all of a sudden the wreck was happening.
And you know, and I'll say this about that: it's one of those things where if you know it's the green white checker, you don't lose. I don't think you give up that track position because I think you stay out even if you've got 50 laps on your tires because wherever the caution comes out and you're at, that's where you're going to end up.
Boys, it says that John Mullins got a third. So
that's what I'm seeing here. Yeah,
I know
it went back again. That's odd. Yeah, I'm seeing the same thing you are. But looks like the finishing order here is Don Avery in first, Wes Dobbs in second place, highest finish in the ISCA. Third place, Kenny Powell. Fourth place, Jose Acosta. Fifth place, Paul Olson. Look at Paul Olson, top 5. Randy Mullins, sixth place. Seventh place, Gary Adamson. Eighth place, Chris Severa. Ninth place, Greg Wachinski. And rounding out our top 10 is Darren Mullins.
Yep, and that's going to put Derek Jacobs 3 laps down, in 11th. Josh Schaffner, 6 laps down in 12th. Joey Prevey, Alan Henson, and Andrew Layton round out this 15-car field for the first race here, complete of the ISCA season. This thing is awesome, and while these guys are going to start celebrating and tearing it down, we're going to have to step away and get a brief word from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with our post-race coverage.
At Farmers, we know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two, like how nice it is to switch and save on your auto policy. But it's even nicer knowing that if this happens, or this happens, or this, or even this, we've seen and covered it. So call 1-800-FARMERS to switch your auto policy and you could save an average of $470. Get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Hey everybody, my name is Warren Maddox. I am the president of Ultimate Experience Outdoors. Our mission, we are dedicated to taking veterans, first responders, youth, and Gold Star family members on outdoor excursions across the country.
Support for our mission has many forms. From camp cooks to the great storytellers, some buddies with the band, maybe you just want to build a campfire and sit around and listen. Nothing goes unnoticed.
Camaraderie is reborn. The acceptance among the men and women that took an oath.
Whether it was decades ago or recently renewed, but never forgotten.
If you feel like you could help us, please visit our website, www.uxonation.org.
There, you can register to hunt, sign up to sponsor an event, or even donate to us so we can continue to execute our mission.
Oh my gosh, I'm so comfortable, bro. We get a hug, man. What have you done, Jim?
We need your help to hold the line once again.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be joined in the booth by, I do believe, Kenny Powell, our third place and official third place finisher. Big Al Kozlowski, I should say, is standing by.
Mr. Kenny Powell, Al Kozlowski. How you doing, buddy?
All right.
Well, first of all, walk us through. I mean, did you have a tire spin there? What happened at the end of this thing?
Yeah, I was on old tires, and I was worried about spinning them on the initial get-go, and I didn't spin them on the get-go. I spun them after I shifted, and I just when it happened, it turned right, and I just tried to keep it on the wall so I didn't affect anybody else. And then caution came out, I guess.
Well, most definitely that kind of benefited you there a little bit. Did you think you had anything for Don if you wouldn't have got that wheel spin?
Yeah, I do. We'll never know. He was, I think, faster than I was right before it, but I wasn't gonna let him have it. I was gonna make him earn it.
Well, watching this race, it was much different than we watched on Thursday. I mean, obviously we had a couple altercations here, and first time in a while, I guess, at the ISCA, we've seen some green flag mayhem, if you would. We seen Don earlier in the race, kind of got sideways and took off a couple people there.
Yeah, we'll review some of those after the race here, and see what happened, and hopefully everybody got it out of their system, and we won't have much more of that.
Well, it definitely was fun. I mean, I enjoyed watching it, and it's better to watch it than be in it, most definitely here. Well, congratulations on. Looks like you got a third place out of this, and I guess it's gonna probably be pending a review. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll freeze the field. When the caution came out, as we were pacing around, whatever happened there right before the start finish line. We'll probably discuss that one after the race. But as far as positions, I'll lock the field before that shenanigans happened, before the actual green white or before the checker.
Well, it looks like there's maybe a half a second optional possibility for Jose here. It depends on when the caution came out, but definitely you stayed to the wall like you said you were, so you wouldn't cause anybody's problems. But it was a little too late. Everybody behind you just checked up real good here, and we got a mayhem there. Probably the most wrecks we've seen at the end of an ISCA race in a very long time. So we'll review that, but we'll let you go. You got any sponsors you want to thank?
Yeah, I'll keep it short. I've been sick this week, and man, I can't believe I even finished as well as I did. But I'll make a comment too about leading this thing going into the green flag pit stops, and messed up a pit stop there. So I didn't come out with the lead. That was a bummer. But I'll shout out TWRS. Kenny Coppola helped us build this set this week, and it was a great set, and we'll move on from here.
Speaking of moving on, we are in Kentucky next week. What can we see from Kentucky? This is not the normal Kentucky. This is what they call the Legacy, right?
That's right. Yeah, it's a fun mile and a halfer. I like it, so I expect to put some laps in if I get to feeling better. And I'm
gonna put you under the gun here. Explain to us what the difference in this Legacy and the current track that iRacing has for Kentucky. You remember the difference?
Actually, do we even? I don't know the difference. I assume it was rougher, has a different bump in it somewhere.
Yeah, they had a
really don't know how to
repave.
get on it.
Well,
don't
I guess
remember
we'll
anything
wait
more
and
than
see what happens next week in Kentucky. That's a comparable track, almost. So is that 1.5 miles, Kentucky, I believe?
Yeah.
So it's going to be a typical 1.5 miles. It'd be pretty close to what we get here tonight. And hopefully they have the same action we got. But I appreciate you, Kenny, once again, and thank you for everything you do for the ISCA. And we will talk to you next week.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks for popping in the booth too, helping out.
Alrighty, that was Kenny Powell, our third place finisher. Next up, Big Al's going to be standing by with Wes Dobbs.
Wes Dobbs, this is Big Al up in the booth. You got me?
How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm probably not doing as good as you are. Congratulations on coming in here tonight, racking up a whole bunch of points and bringing it home with a second-place finish. The team has definitely got to be pumped up about that.
Oh, yeah. Just kind of like the ocean just parted just right.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. You guys actually, started this thing in P3, bringing it home in P2. I know it's one of these crazy weeks where you did not have the opportunity to actually get a lot of racing in due to the lack of availability on the sim. So just what was the ticket that you guys used to be successful here this evening?
Well, we kept playing with the setup, playing with it, trying to make it last, full fuel run, which is hard with these guys because they're so fast. And I'm still making some sloppy mistakes on pit road. I got to clean that up. Got behind. It's hard coming from the back. By the time you get to the front, you done burnt your tires up bad. It's hard to get around the rest of them. You just got to fall in line and ride and hope you don't wreck. You get looser and looser and looser.
So once we got to the point where we were getting those cautions there late in the third stage, how did that actually affect your strategy? Because, I know you guys were probably coming into this thinking maybe the longer runs, but then, we had 3 cautions there back to back to back. So did you guys go back and make any adjustments there? What were you thinking and what plan did you come up with? Because obviously it was successful.
Yeah, these cars are hard to figure out. It's, it shows that your car one way, but basically I figured out you got to do it the opposite. You think you want a looser car if it's pushing up in the center, so you can cut it back down. But the problem is you just start spinning that right rear up off the turn and just smokes it all the way down the straightaway. Then when you go in the next turn, now it's 2 times hotter and jumping all over the place. So at the end, I tightened it up and it seemed to work at the end of the second stage. Then I could drive it like I want it without being scared to death to touch the throttle.
Yeah, a lot of updates coming this week as well. So I guess a direct question is, as we come into this race versus where we were at 13 weeks ago, I'll say even at the beginning of the year, has the car become more manageable, more adjustable, and more fun to drive for you? Or are you just kind of, one of those guys that was just wish we had the old car back?
Well, they keep changing the physics, so you've got to turn around and just run 1,000 laps, which is probably what we done this week. Trying to figure out what the car's going to do. We got new track state. We've got 2-time accelerator. Changed around the length of the stages a little bit, so you've got to test those settings to get it right so you're fast at the end. For those 2 green flag runs. And when we can get there, then you know you're pretty good. Because typically you loosen the car up as the race goes on. And you would think this 2 times accelerator would make it where you had to do that. But actually, I had to tighten mine up. And it seemed to work it there at the end. I couldn't run them down because I got behind. Because I had to pass everybody again.
And like you said, passing definitely does change the degradation of your tire wear. But hey, whatever you did, it did work. And 1,000 laps, I believe, would be the correct amount of laps in the recipe. Next week we head to Kentucky. What are you guys expecting? What can we expect to see coming up from you guys here next week?
The track actually feels pretty good. I mean, I think it's going to be a fun, exciting race. Should be able to have some 2 and 3 wide without killing your tires. So I think it's going to be pretty fun because you can run the bottom, middle, or the top.
You care to make a prediction as far as where we can expect to see Mr. Dobbs at the end of the race on next Saturday?
Depends on how hard we work this week to get there and what changes they make to the game. See if we can make it happen. I'm still learning a lot about the tracks, how hard to drive. But I think we should do pretty good. If I could have stayed up front tonight, it'd probably been a whole lot better show for me. I just got lucky there at the end.
Well, hey, I'd rather be lucky than good. Congratulations on bringing it home here in P2. Look forward to seeing what you guys got in store for us next week. Before we let you go, who you shouting out tonight after your second place finish?
Just Andrew, Derek, and Alan. We all worked together this week, testing sets, seeing what worked, what don't work, how to adjust them. And you got 3 or 4 guys that'll get in there and put the time in, turning the laps. So if you make an adjustment and it helps everybody, then you know that's the thing to do.
Roger that, sir. Congratulations to you and your team. Look forward to seeing you next week. If you do celebrate tonight, drink, but don't drive. Drink responsibly. And if you're gonna be around a bunch of people, make sure you wear your mask. Have a good night. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you.
All righty, that was Wes Dobbs, our second place finisher. Next up, we got our big winner here tonight, Don Avery. Definitely probably feeling pretty dang good after, you kind of had one slip away, I'd say, on Thursday, but here you are here tonight. I mean, how you feeling, Don?
I'd feel a lot better if I didn't do to Josh what I did. I just misjudged the closure rate there, and then, that late race caution messed up a lot of other people too with the older tires on the restart. So I want to apologize to everybody for that. And, I got a win. Didn't want to do it that way, though.
Well, I'm sure you didn't do it on purpose. So what do you think led to that issue where it was that restart and all of a sudden you just spun out there? Were you on new tires or old there?
Yeah, that was another thing I need to apologize to everybody for. It was new tires, and I kept practicing the takeoffs and everything. I just probably stayed in first gear a little too long and should have quicker shifted to second. So I hit that power band up there, and it just got me loose.
It definitely was a crazy crash. I think one of the craziest ones we've seen all year for sure, and just unfortunate to see for sure. But you were able to recover, and you didn't let it hold you back. Because I know when you have things like that happen, it's so easy to get down in the dumps and not race like Don Avery is meant to race. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I still tried to save tires and manage the car and have good pit stops, and that all worked out for me.
Now, was there any difference with your setup here tonight that you maybe had on Thursday? Because I know you raced in both of those races and actually got the pole in both also.
Yeah, I went back and looked in Motec, and I had the wrong race setup in last Thursday night, and the back end was just dragging the ground really hard. That was getting me loose. I also got some practice in today, a lot more than I got before the Thursday night race. Made some adjustments to the car, looked at some data, changed the line off of 4. That's the trouble area for me in Charlotte. Just you got to roll that center a little more, and kind of ease back into the throttle after you get through the apex. And I was stomping on it before, so that helped out a lot.
Well, definitely seemed like it, man. I mean, you definitely were fast all night. I know you had some hiccups out there. Definitely. I know you feel a little down on yourself, and I understand that kind of thought. But man, you definitely put on quite the show out here. You got the win. I mean, the first win of the Cup season here on Saturday. I mean, you're looking pretty good points-wise, I'd say, in both the Thursday and Saturday. I mean, so how does that make you feel, going into the rest of the season?
It's a good start for sure. The guys over at Triad have been working on a setup for Kentucky. I think that's where we're at next week.
Well, that's definitely my next question to ask you about that.
Yeah, and they've already put in a ton of work. They started like on Tuesday, started working on the setup. I haven't had a chance to get over there and work with them. But I'll get in there tomorrow. We'll have some more sessions up and start practicing at Kentucky tomorrow.
All right. Well, definitely can't wait to see what you bring out. I mean, I'm sure you guys are going to be fast. I mean, you've been fast everywhere we've gone, of course, last season. So I expect you to continue to have that momentum and, continue to move forward and push forward. And definitely wish you the best of luck for sure. Who can we give a shout out to tonight after your big win?
As always, my wife Sherry and her friend that she's with right now, Lisa. Big shout out to those two. Triad Racing.
Have a little watch party?
Yeah, a little bit. A shout out to Triad. All those guys are putting in a lot of work over there. Sousa Media, who sponsors us. Stent Analyzer, that always works. Everybody needs to download that and start using it. Also, shout out to Kenny and for putting all this on. You guys up in the booth, and again, I just want to apologize to the guys for the mistakes I made today.
Hey, Don.
Yeah, go ahead, Al.
Big Al, hey, look, when you go back over and you rewatch this, I might have said some things about you, but, I was only funning.
All right, Al. Give my wife a shout out.
Hey, shout out to you, Sherry. Appreciate you for watching us, man. We appreciate it. Hey, tell more people we got to get those numbers up.
All right. Well, Dom, we appreciate your time and congratulations once again. And hopefully we see, hopefully get to talk to you next week at Kentucky.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep chipping away at it. Thanks, guys.
All right. That was Don Avery, your big winner here tonight for the Cheerwine 200. And I'll tell you what, I think there's a little bit of cheer out there. There's a little bit of wine. Big Al, what you think?
I don't know. What do you mean?
I don't know. I mean, there's been, probably some guys that are happy with the race tonight, some guys that are not. I'd say this is a very divisive type of race here tonight. And, man, this is so different than Thursday.
It was definitely a lot different race than Thursday, but I even said that it's a different cast of characters. So with that, man, it definitely was it was exciting, to say the least. And I'm just excited about next week.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely was very exciting. I mean, it just definitely a lot of, beating and banging and stuff like that. A lot of guys know how important these, first races of this season are. I mean, this sets you up for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It's your momentum. So the one thing you don't want the DNF, because starting off with a goose egg is really gonna suck. You wanted to get the stage points tonight through 1 and 2, and you wanted a strong finish. A lot of drivers did that, and they're gonna see Santa Claus, man. He's gonna put a little extra something in their stocking.
100%. Well, we definitely appreciate everybody out there tuning in here tonight. Definitely was a fun show altogether just to watch, and we appreciate Al Kozlowski for stepping in and helping out tonight. I know I've been a little bit under the weather here, and he definitely provided my voice a little bit of rest. But and also a big shout out to Big Al for always dealing with me. And thanks to Kenny Powell for putting all this on, and what a great race it was. I mean, it definitely, like I said, a little divisive, but I tell you what, I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. It was just nothing but drama. It's perfect for what a broadcaster wants to see, that's for sure. But we appreciate, as I said, everybody watching, and tune in on Thursday. About 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we start the actual stream. 9:30, a little after that, will be the race. Legacy, Kentucky, going to be on the second race for the Thursday series, and of course Saturday, same time, be on their second race of the Saturday series. So we appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll see you next time, ladies and gentlemen.